Okay. Bismillah, wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillah, rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wahlul 'uqdatan min lisani yafqahu qawli. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Today, inshallah, we will be looking at the letter Jim. I'll just bring that up for you. Okay, so as usual, first thing we need to do is know how or where exactly the Jim is comes from in the mouth. So I have my tongue here. Jim is actually produced using the tongue. It's one that normally people find a little bit tricky to be able to identify and tell where exactly it's coming from. But if you think of the tongue, this is the front of the tongue, the tip of the tongue. Um, the middle section of the tongue that I'm pointing at here, for those of you that can't see if you're not watching the live, then it's just the middle part of the tongue and it's the very center. Okay, it's the very center of the tongue. Okay, and what's happening is that center of the tongue is rising and is touching what lies opposite to it from the roof of the mouth. So the upper palate, it goes the upper palate at the top. Okay, in the middle. So you don't have to bend your tongue in. It doesn't need to go in slanted positions or move forward or back or any of that. It's just simply the middle of the tongue is just raised straight up, and wherever it touches at the top on the hard palate, it just is straight there, straight up, straight down. Okay, so the middle of the tongue goes straight up and straight down. Now, the other thing which is important to mention here is that for the letter Jim, a really common mistake is sometimes instead of using a point in the middle of the tongue, okay, sometimes sisters might end up using the two sides of the tongue, right? Not exactly the edges of the tongue, but a little two sides, and they go up. And then what happens is they end up with this blank or this space in the middle. And when that happens, they end up having air flowing, or the breath flows through that middle part. So you end up with something that sounds like a ch sound, a ch in English, a ch. So some people may recite this as chim, which would be incorrect. Okay, so it does this makhraj or this articulation point. We do say it's strong. Okay, so when your tongue goes up, you got to put some strength in it. There's a bit of firmness in it. Okay, so you press at the top and then you let go. Like, for example, let me just bring up an example here. When it has a fatha, we say ja, ja, ja. So you press hard. You're not saying cha, 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 because that would be that ch sound means that you're not really using the middle part, like a middle part, the middle of the middle, as we say. You have your middle part of your tongue, the very middle center of it. You allow that to hit the top, and you do it with firmness, and then you let go all of a sudden. You don't do it slowly. You don't let go slowly. You let go quite quickly. So your tongue touches with firmness, and then let's go. Ja, ja. It is a light letter. So just how we saw before when we said ba, ta, sa, ja. Ja follows the same rhythm as we did with the ba and the ta and the sa. When it has a dhamma, again with the circling of the lips, but your tongue is still you're still using the same part of your tongue. Do, ja, do, ja, do, and we also have d. Again, making sure that you do make the correct e sound. Ja, do, d, ja, do, d. When the jim has a sukoon, then when we're joining it with any letter before, I mean, you'll have noticed in these presentations, I'm using Hamza as the letter before in each one. It could be any letter that's before the jim. It could have been a meme or a kaf or a lam, any letter, as long as the jim has a sukoon or a shadda and it's being joined to the letter before. But jim has a quality which it shares with the letter ba, which we saw in day one, which is the qalqala, which means that when we pronounce the jim, when it has a sukoon, so only when it has a sukoon, when it's being joined to the letter before, then we introduce this quality of bouncing and we say ajah, ajah. Okay. What happens is, again, remember we said qalqala is a little bit like a spring. So when you hit the makhraj of the jim, what happens is you hit the makhraj with the energy. So your tongue goes up. As your tongue comes down, you continue with the sound of your voice. So you don't just go aj or aj and stop. You say ajah, ajah, ajah. There's no abruptness at the end. So we don't say ajah, ajah. You see that sharp ending? We don't have the sharp ending. It's ajah, ajah. It's gentle. It's a continuous flow, and it's a very gentle end to that letter. Ajah, أج, أج. Okay, that is the jim with the qalqala. Let's have a look at an example, like in the word, for example, فَالزَّاجِرَاتِ. Now here we have the jim with a kasra, sorry. So here we want to hear the e, and again the strength, the firmness in the makhraj. فَالزَّاجِرَاتِ, فَالزَّاجِرَاتِ. Okay, another example which I've mentioned here at the bottom has quite a few different jims in it. We have the jim with the sukoon, which means that we've got to do the qalqala for that one. We've got the jim with the fatha, the nice light sounding one. We've got the jim with the dhamma, where we have to get the u. Okay, so here we say when we don't we yeah we say when najmu. So you see, you don't stop the flow of recitation and say when najmu. You keep the flow going. It's a very fluent, smooth transition from one letter to the next, even though you're putting the qalqala in, that bounce in. When naj, when najmu, when najmu, when najmu. So you go to the jim, you do the qalqala, you smoothly go on to the mim. When najmu. Then we have washajaru, 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 the nice light at the opening, not to forget the opening of the jim. Yes, dudan. Yes, dudan. So if we were saying this together, والنجم والشجر يسجدان والنجم والشجر يسجدان. Okay, so have a good practice. Remember, there is a link that is shared with you in the description. It should be there already now for you to have a go at. So practice along with the Sheikh, inshallah. I will see you tomorrow, inshallah. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك نشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت نستغفرك ونتوب إليك. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.